Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin. We are here on a Thursday morning to talk about the Baltimore Ravens' upcoming Monday night matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm looking forward to previewing this game. It's going to be a fun one against a familiar foe, the old Baker Mayfield. But before we get started, Glenn, talk to us about our sponsor, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. BetOnline. It is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Has every stat, every matchup, breakdowns, and even live odds and spreads to bet on while the games are being played. With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA, and even political props. When the games are over, head over to the online casino, get in a hand of blackjack, some poker, or unwind with over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Speaking of the game, Glenn, let's get right into it, dude. I know that's a little early, so we usually start with the injury report, but talk to us about what we know so far about the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so not a whole the biggest uncertainty right now about the Ravens is, do we see the season debut of Arthur Maulet? He returned to practice a couple weeks back, had some sessions where he was able to participate, but also missed some practices in this window of availability. And the anticipation is that he will make his season debut. And a lot of that's because of what he's announcing on Twitter. Seems excited about this week. He's talking about need to get a retwist on his hair. Just kind of indicating that we might be seeing some Arthur Maulet on the field, which would be exciting. I think anyone who was a Ravens fan last year remembers the addition that he was and the physicality, the energy he brought to the defense. And look, just having having a good defensive defensive back is always a good thing, even just from a rotation standpoint. But I think he can be more than just a rotational piece. I think he can be a guy that can make a difference on Sundays, or in this case, Monday.
Yeah, and especially in this game when we're playing against a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who got some guys, got some horses. Yeah. I think it'll be a welcome return for one Arthur Maulet. What about Tampa Bay? We got a lot of question marks over there. Anything that we know?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions right now, and the unfortunate thing for the Bucs is it's surrounding some pretty big time players. Jamel Dean, their number one corner, their stud corner, left last week's game against the Saints with an injury, and the expectation, at least from some of their media members, is that Jamel Dean will not be active in this game. Now, again, not till Monday, so a lot has to be kind of seen between now and then, but yeah, Jamel Dean could be absent, and that would be a big, big loss. Their clear number one corner. Now, Zion McCollum would step up into that position, and he's a talented guy. Got all the measurables you'd look for. Has 10 pass breakups already this year, including 2 interceptions. So he's been doing his thing, but losing Jamel Dean would put Zion in the position of having to elevate to the number one corner, and we can kind of know what that does to disrupt the secondary when everybody is now out of position, having to play a level above. And then on offense, Mike Evans was banged up last week. And look, he's a tough SOB. That guy, I mean, you don't break the record for starting your career with 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons, which, by the way, is, I think he's chasing Jerry Rice for the only person ever to have 11 consecutive. Now, Jerry didn't do that to start his career, so Mike has that leg up on him. But just judging by Mike Evans' track record, I would be surprised if he's not out there. But at the very least, we know he's not going to be 100% if he is.
Dude, was that the Marlon Humphrey draft?
Oh, you talking about Mike Evans?
Mike Evans. Wasn't that the Marlon Humphrey draft?
I don't remember if that was Marlon, but I remember going, God, I want this guy when he was gone way before.
Yeah, I think he was like the 7th pick or the 5th pick, something way early. And look, it's been worth the pick. Shout out to Mike Evans. That's one of those guys you watch him play and you're like, gosh, this guy would have been an amazing Raven.
He just looks like the way he plays.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. No, I agree with you there. So there'll definitely be some interesting pieces for them. But sorry about my son in the background. I'm double duty in it right now. But let's get right into this matchup here. We're going to talk about the Ravens offense. You guys know who we are, but we want to talk about it in the perspective of the Tampa Bay defense. So Glenn, why don't you let us know where we are from an offensive standpoint? We all know we're number one in rushing, but break down some stats for us, and then we'll get into this Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah, let's do it. So offensively for the Ravens, they're second in points per game, averaging 29.5. I mean, holy smokes, it's insane to think that the Baltimore teams are now led by their offense, but it certainly is here. I'm sorry. Actually, I just had to, it looks like my computer just refreshed. So we're fourth, 29.5. First in yards per game, however, 453.7. First in yards per play at 6.9. First and third down conversion percentage, which, look, we always talk about kind of the key indicators if you're a good offense or if you're not a good offense. And third down is one of the big ones. And being number one in third down conversion rate is pretty special. And the next one that I think is also a pretty good indicator, and it's pretty awesome to see the Ravens in the number one spot, is the red zone scoring percentage offensively. Right now, the Ravens score 75% of their red zone trips turn to touchdowns. I mean, that's an insane number. And when you're getting 6 versus 3, you're putting so much more pressure on the opposing offense to continue to keep up with what you're producing that it can certainly cause teams to get out of their game plan. It can cause teams to become completely one-sided, abandon the run game as they feel they have to score quickly and gain chunk plays, can't commit to their traditional game plan. And so, man, it puts so much pressure on opposing offenses and teams in general. As far as the passing offense, Ravens right now are 8th in yards at 248.3. Again, continue to be number one in sack percentage. Lamar sacked just 3.8% of his dropbacks, which, man, I mean, if you looked at the offensive line play over the first 2 weeks to see where they're at now, to see the type of progression, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of a shame Jimmy's not here right now because we preached before the season started to show patience, to absorb the growing pains that there will no doubtedly be with this offensive line, starting 3 new starters and it being so young. And then we completely didn't listen to our own advice. We did not take the growing pains well. It hurt our feelings. And it's just like we said, guys, this offensive line is a work in progress. It's going to get better and better as the season goes. And man, have they ever. But we were not patient like we preached. And we were knee-jerk reacting and trying to get guys out of the lineup. And man, I'm glad the coaches did not listen to us to a degree because they are playing at a super, super high level right now on the offensive line. It's awesome to see, man. It's really cool. As far as look, this isn't going to come as a shock. As far as running games, I mean, boy, oh boy, is this a beautiful thing to see. Number one in virtually every statistical category when it comes to the run game, outside of rushing touchdowns per game, where we're third. We average 1.7 rushing touchdowns per game. But as far as the other numbers, 5.9 yards per rush is a team. That's number one. Rushing yards per game, 205.3. That's also number one. So, yeah, a lot to like here when it comes to the Ravens offense. And then how it matches up against the Tampa Bay defense is this. Tampa Bay's defense averages 23.5 points allowed per game. That's 19th in the league. As far as third down percentage, they average, they're 17th in the league, allowing opposing offenses to convert on 37% of their third down attempts. And red zone scoring, they're 12th. 48% of the time offenses score against their red zone defense. And then how it breaks down against the run, they're 24th in yards per attempt against them. Opponents average 4.7 yards per rush, which could bode well for a Ravens team that averages 5.9. Yards per game, they're 11th. Opponents average 113.3 yards per game on the ground. And then yards in the air, let's see, they're 28th, Jimbo. Giving up
not good.
252 through the air. Woo! So look, this Ravens offense is obviously hitting on all cylinders, and it's going to be tough for any defense to have to look across the field and see this offense lined up against them. But yeah, Tampa Bay 19th in points. It could be a tough afternoon for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, as long as the Ravens don't overcomplicate things, right? But I saw that 113 a game, and I was like, oh boy, here we go, right? I'm excited about that matchup. It's funny, Glenn. I actually had my stats queued up for this one, ready to go, made sure they were correct, and Eugene had other plans. So I appreciate you covering for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. G. Isaac, good morning, gentlemen. James looking fresh this morning, and he gone.
Yep.
Young father, I miss it in my old age. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I apologize. He's super easy most of the time, but not this morning. All that being said, he should be asleep here in the next minute or two. Fingers crossed. All right. Let's oh, you know what, Glenn? Did you give your offensive matchup already? Did I miss that?
Nah, I can give it now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eugene is really singing in the background, and it's quite loud. Eugene loving to show off his pipes here. But yeah, as far as they got some players you certainly got to watch out for. They got some studs. Levante David has been doing it a long time. He tackles anyone in his vicinity. He's an absolute stud. I'm going to actually share my screen here and show you guys what they've done so far on the defensive side of the ball. And then I'm going to give you my key because it certainly ties into what we have going on here. All right, here's the stats here. So Levante David, again, doing it a long time. He's a tackling machine. He's going to get guys on the ground if they come into his area. There's just no doubt about it. He leads the team with 46 total tackles, but also 3 sacks and an interception and 3 pass deflections. So this guy can get it done in all areas. He can stop the run. He's pretty decent in pass coverage, and he can certainly blitz the quarterback and get him on the ground. I mentioned Jamel Dean, the unlikeliness that he's going to play. Big loss for them. Jordan Whitehead, one of the best safeties in the league. And in fact, whenever he leaves the defense, you look at the numbers when he was there and when he left, and it's a pretty steep drop off. It's insane how one player can make that kind of difference. And then Zion McCollum, I mentioned, number 2 corner, got all the physical traits you would want, and will certainly be elevated in Jamel Dean's absence to the number 1 spot. Vita Vea, 350, and that's maybe selling him a little short. But athletic is all get out. One of the best D tackles in the league, an absolute stud. And then look, they get Antoine Winfield back after he was hurt in the first week. He's definitely, I guess, I don't know if definitely is the right word, but he's arguably their best defensive player. I mean, Vita Vea is certainly a really good player, David and Dean as well. But I think Antoine's probably their best on the defensive side. He comes back last week, and what does he do? He scoops and scores a touchdown from 50 yards out in his first action since week 1. So look, it's going to be this isn't a defense that's lacking in talent. It's kind of like the Ravens. They got talent, just doesn't really show up on the stats yet. Now, look, they're better statistically than the Ravens are, certainly against the pass, but who isn't? Everyone is, and it seems like right now. But my offensive matchup I'm looking forward to seeing is going to be Flowers versus Zion McCollum. And the reason being is I think teams are going to start going, man, we got to get Flowers out of this game. I mean, he had 9 catches in the first half last week. Teams are going to start trying to game plan him out of the game and say, look, we'd rather Bateman and maybe, we're going to take our chances with Bateman, Aguilar, potentially Tylan Wallace. We're not going to let Flowers beat us. So I expect him to get some double coverage. But also, look, it's going to have to be McCollum's responsibility to slow down the threat that is Zay Flowers. And I'm excited about that matchup. How about you, Jimbo?
Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing I'll say to your point is I think it gets difficult. We talked about personnel last week, and I think this is where the Ravens magic is really happening, right? Like the other teams know what's going on, but it's just a proposition you're put in where if Zay is our only wide receiver rolling out there in a 22, then Eugene was just asleep and I go waking him up. Then, I mean, it's just a difficult, like how much can you dedicate to him into the pass game, to the rush game. But I'm excited to see Vita Vea on that defensive line, see if they can do anything to slow down Derrick Henry, because if not, it's going to be a long day. That's the matchup I'm looking forward to. Dude gained 100 pounds in one offseason. Did you hear about this in college? Came in as a back, gained 100 pounds, came back, and they put him at nose tackle.
No, I did not know that, but it doesn't shock me when you watch the guy run. Still has feet at that size. I mean, we know Haloti Ngata here, right? That's the guy who most closely resembles what that guy does from a size and athleticism standpoint. He's one of the freaks in this league. And yeah, it's going to be a challenge for those guys inside as well as they've been playing lately. Vita Vea is a whole different animal. And what people don't expect is the quickness in which he plays with at that size. His hands, I mean, he is a quick man at that size. So don't sleep on him if you're one of the interior offensive linemen here. And I'm sure they won't after watching the tape. But as far as offensive X factor players, because look, I look at how we're going to attack them. I think what could be a big time advantage for the Ravens is the use of getting Lamar Jackson outside the pocket via bootlegs and play action pass. We saw a lot of play action pass success last week where teams are bringing that extra safety down. and they're trying to stop this run attack. And what's it doing? As soon as we fake the run, they're sucking up just a little bit towards the line of scrimmage, opening up the middle of the field behind them. And the bootleg was a very successful attack used against this Buccaneers defense by the Broncos and the Saints last week. They used it a ton, got wide open passing lanes, and got guys chunk plays down the field. And I think what quarterback could execute the bootleg better than freaking Lamar Jackson? So I look for that to be something that is used in this game to attack the Buccaneers defense. And with that being said, I think with the attention that's going to be no doubtedly on Zay Flowers, and I think Rashad Bateman to this point is starting to get, more. Oh, let me help you out here, Jimbo. Let me help you out. Here we go. There we go. Oh, actually, I think it's this one. There we go. Here's the better one. I think with the attention we're going to see increasingly on our two top tight ends and our two top wide receivers is going to open up things for a guy like Nelson Aguilar. He's my X factor player. Look for him to get a chunk play, much like he did last week. And a lot of games he's had this where he only gets one or two targets, but those one or two targets turn into a 50-yard catch. So he's my X factor, and don't be surprised if that comes off of a play action or some sort of bootleg to get Lamar Jackson out of the pocket.
Or even I think of even a scenario where deception is what we talk about, right? Where you roll out, instead of Zay being out there as the one or the two wide receivers, you have in that same spot that Zay is normally in, you have Aguilar, who we know is very capable. Teams might see Aguilar roll out and think, this is a run play. Mm-hmm. Right. You know what I mean? And then that's a perfect scenario where, you hit him with one, he makes a cornerback miss like that, like a few games ago, and breaks a long one. Right. So I could totally see that as well. Mine is going to be Justice Hill, kind of to the same point, but a little different in that everyone is talking about Derrick Henry, right? He won his second AFC Offensive Player of the Week, I think, in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Everyone is, rightfully so, is focused on Derrick Henry, right? Mm-hmm. It seems like a Justice Hill game to me where he's nickel and diamond. Right, he's getting these dinks and dunks, and he's turning them into something. I think he ends up in the end zone. I'm going to say Justice Hill has all-purpose yards, 80+ and a touchdown, which is, I think, a pretty big game for Justice Hill.
Oh, certainly. But and the thing I want to point out quickly about Justice Hill, and if you're a Ravens fan, I'm sure you've been seeing this. This guy's pass blocking is absolutely insane. I saw a compilation of all his pass block sets over the last couple weeks, and this dude is an absolute freak of nature when it comes to picking up the blitz. Fearless when putting his nose in there. It doesn't matter who's blitzing. It doesn't matter who has a free run. If Justice Hill is back there, you better believe he's going to put his nose in there, and he's going to hit you right in your chest. So you better be ready if you're a blitzing linebacker, or if they're running some sort of twist or stunt on the offensive line and you think you got a free run. Well, Justice Hill's going to pop you right in your mouth. So, man, dude, I love what that guy's.
You know what, Justice Hill? I was watching the Wired episode. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just first of all, super smart. I mean, I'm not surprised he has the belt in that room if you guys have seen it, and I'm sure that he'll keep it for a while, is my guess. But dude, his spirit animal is a mongoose. Like the way that exactly you're describing, imagine Chris Jones, and all of a sudden out of nowhere you see this little tiny, but he makes an impact. Yep. I mean, he's smart. He's kind of an individual thinker. I was a little concerned about Justice a few years ago about some of the stuff on his Twitter, and his intelligence, but I'm feeling good now.
That's right.
That's pretty good. So yeah, I'm really excited for him, and I think he'll end up with a big game this one.
And let's hope Lamar continues. If you guys haven't seen it, and Jimmy, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. Logan Paulson, the former tight end for the Washington Redskins.
I thought you were going to say Logan Paul.
No. I think his name was Logan Paulson. He used to be a tight end for the Redskins. Now he covers the Commanders. And he was talking about being on the sideline, the impressiveness that Lamar Jackson has shown at the line of scrimmage, getting them into the correct set after he sees what the defense is showing him. He said he was not at all prepared to see that level of control. He called it Brady Manning-esque control at the line of scrimmage. The way he said we'd be in a great defensive set. He would see it pre-snap, completely change the play, and all of a sudden the Ravens have the advantage. It's like he was not prepared for the command that Lamar Jackson has in this offense, the synchronicity between him and Todd Monken. And it might be a thing where Todd goes, all right, if you get this, it's a run. If you get this, it's a pass. And here's the two plays we're going to use. It could be something like that. But man, it sure looks like Lamar's orchestrating this offense at the line of scrimmage. And man, I don't know how defenses are going to stop him the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Lamar that's working really well, that I think for the most part has been consistent throughout his career, is he really trusts his eyes. He doesn't second guess. Lamar Jackson doesn't seem like the type of guy that writes an answer in a test and you see like 80 scribbles because he's not sure about his answer. Feels pretty good about what he sees, has a lot of confidence in himself. And that usually bodes well. Usually your first thought is probably, and what you see is usually your most correct. And I think that really, certainly at the quarterback position, before you start overthinking it. And I think that's really noticeable, and that comes out in Lamar's game. So that's exciting. I agree with you 100%. That's really cool to hear. All right. Should we switch things up, Glenn, and go to the Ravens defense?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me see if I got this up here. So, obviously the Ravens defense has some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the defense goes, we're giving up. You know what? Hold on. Look, now I got to pop up my screen. Oh no. All right, here we go. All right, defensively. Whoa.
My man Jimbo.
Oh my gosh. What's up?
My man Jimbo be thinking he's prepared, and then
Dude, what is happening here? Hold on, Glenn. Look, this is okay. Here we go. I got it. All right. So we are giving up right now 24.8 points per game. Glenn, like I said, I'm check me. I'm not using ChatGPT this time. Let's see which. Look, this is not what we want to see as a Ravens defense. I would like to know where this ranks, Glenn, as far as like other Ravens defenses since 96. How, I don't know, 24.8 seems a little unacceptable to me, but I'm hoping we're trending in the right direction. Third down is another big one, 41%. The opposing offenses are converting on us. Now let's go to where they do shine. That's the rushing yards allowed per game. I believe we're at 59 per game, which has gone down, right? Didn't that go down from last? Wasn't it like 83 last week?
I think it was in the 60s, but still.
Okay, but either way, it went down.
Yeah. Against the number 2 rushing team in the league, it went down, by the way.
Just absolutely crazy. And then let's see here. Let's talk about the other thing. The other thing I want to talk about is, of course, passing. Yards per attempt, not great. And this is a stark difference from last year. I think we're at 8.1. I think it was something astronomical last year as far as like a history making, right? Under Mike McDonald.
Oh, well, we were the first Triple Crown winning defense ever when led the league in sacks, turnovers, and points. Yeah. So that's a little concerning for me, but I think it really comes down to, Glenn, the stats are what they are and they don't lie. Yeah. But you said it before. We know our talent evaluators know, our front office knows we have the dollars invested in, the drafts capital invested in, and the resources in the secondary. Mm-hmm. I think that to improve the secondary, 2 things need to happen. Obviously, Francis Ngakoue has helped. Our pass rush needs to continue to improve, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. But also, they just need to play better. Mm-hmm. It's really that simple. Yeah. Like they need to play better, take advantage of their opportunities, and play better football, play more disciplined. And be more opportunistic. But to that point, I think an opportunity for this defense, Glenn, actually, you know what? Let's talk about the Bucs offense for a second before we get into well, you know what? I'm jumping ahead. Whatever. You guys, we can get right back to it because I'm feeling the Holy Ghost here, so I'm going to go with my flow. I think an opportunity for this defense is the interior rush. I know we're going to talk about their offense. I know Baker's been playing well. Didn't you say he's leading the league in touchdown passes right now? 15.
That's cool. Good for Baker.
3 more than second, by the way. Not even close.
Good, but he's still 5 interceptions. And to that point, when Baker Mayfield tries to play hero ball, he looks like a JV quarterback.
Oh man,
he does. I mean, it's just he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen. He's not, name any other elite level quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's just not that guy. I mean, wouldn't you agree? That's why his contract was a 1-0-0, not a 2XX.
Well, I still got to give the guy credit. He's playing well right now. Very well.
But to my point, if we can get him off the mark, and that's why my X factor this game is going to be Travis Jones. He's playing absolutely amazing. Really looking forward to see him continue to progress. If we can get him off the mark, get interior rush between him, Matabike, and the other boys we got in there, man, it gets every time I see Baker rolling out, I get excited because I know he's going to try and do something he can't do, and then it's going to end up good for us.
You're going to be on bulletin board material in Tampa, Jimbo.
That's fine. Put me on all the bulletin board material you want. You know what? My bulletin board material is when he tried to sun Lamar Jackson. Wasn't that a pregame where he I just
Who
felt like
did?
Baker, dude. And remember what he said? He said, "Oh, make this guy throw the ball." Go
Oh,
ahead,
yeah.
Baker. How about you throw the ball outside the pocket, buddy?
Yeah.
How about you do that?
Yes,
All
he
right.
is, Tom. Yes, he is, Tom.
Yeah, no, I am absolutely. But I look, even if I wasn't a Ravens fan, Glenn, I think you know me well enough to know I would not like Baker Mayfield.
No, Baker doesn't fit who you like. That's for damn sure.
No, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to Travis Jones ruining his day.
No, I think that's a good point because, like Cole mentioned, we remember Ben Bredesen when he was here in Baltimore, and he had some length issues. That was the thing that when he was here, his arms aren't long enough, and like Cole's mentioned, he's definitely the weak spot. You can see and shout out to Cole Jackson in the chat here. He's
throwing in
definitely
all kinds of stats.
Yeah, the weak spot in the interior offensive line. It looks like they could lose not have Graham Barton again this week, and that would be the area in which you're going to want to attack this offensive line is the interior, no doubt about it. And with Travis Jones and Metabike playing the way they are as a tandem, it's pretty scary to think about what they might be able to do this weekend against Baker Mayfield. But the one thing I want to point out, because my focus is going to be on the slot versus the slot receiver, Chris Godwin, versus whoever might be guarding him. If it's Arthur Maulet, if he returns to the team this week, then it'll likely be him tasked with that a lot of times. But if not, it could be a combination of Marlon Humphrey. Could see some Ardarius Washington. But I think we're going to see a lot of double team as well. But then what do you do with Mike Evans, right? That's the conundrum that this team is forcing. But I think my focus more is on the slot, and it's because of Baker's success in throwing it his way. Baker has a 129 quarterback rating when targeting the slot and 9 touchdowns. So obviously things are going really, really well right now for the Buccaneers when throwing the ball through the air, and particularly when targeting the slot. I want to pull up really quick so you guys can kind of see what they've done offensively from attacking the air standpoint, because man, they got some real studs on the outside, and then they got guys that a lot of people are going to be overlooking because of the sexy names on the outside. But man, they got a ton of talent as far as pass catching. I mean, look, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are going to get all the attention. They each have 5 touchdowns, 500 plus yards for Chris Godwin, and 43 catches, which, by the way, leads the NFL in that category. Mike Evans, 310 yards. But again, both red zone threats, both big bodies. Cade Otton, that's the guy. I mean, 31 targets. He turned it into 19 catches. He has 1 score. That guy, don't overlook him. I mean, tight end killed us last week in a lot of ways with Zach Ertz going off. Watch out for Cade Otton. And then Sterling Shepard, a bit of a career resurgence, might be their number 3 receiver. Him and McMillan kind of fighting for that, although McMillan only has 3 catches thus far. And then their 3-headed monster, Jimbo, Rachaad White, Bucky Irvin, Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, I believe, a Calvert Hall kid, which is pretty cool to see him explode last week against the Saints. Had a big game. If Rachaad White is out, which he could miss, then it's a 1-2 punch in Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker, and that's a pretty good 2-headed monster. Might not have a lot of tape, but the tape that is out there, they look like some tough, quick, hard-nosed runners. So watch out for those 2 guys. But yeah, to me, the game is going to be decided in the slot. What does Chris Godwin do? And how can we slow this guy down? Because you can't just sell out and double him, because Mike Evans, Jimbo, I got to get your take, because you're a Stevens guy, right? Like, Brandon Stevens is going to be all over Mike Evans. We know that. He's going to be stuck to him like ham on rye bread. But is Mike Evans going to shit on Brandon Stevens all afternoon?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not as worried about Stevens as I am about the proposition of Wiggins. When Wiggins does match up against a Mike Evans, because I think this will be not only one of the most gifted receivers, one of the most experienced receivers he's up against, certainly one of the most physically imposing receivers he's going up against. Wiggins is slight and handsy. And so I feel like it's like trying to stop a fire with, I don't know, like a water bottle, right? Like a raging forest fire. Wiggins, if you're going to get physical with Mike, okay, well, good luck, right? Like you've got to figure out something to do. And so I think might be a couple lessons learned from Nate Wiggins in this game. So I'm not for that reason, I'm a little more concerned about Wiggins getting beat bad, right? Because if he tries to put hands on, I know he has this recovery speed. Even if he gets up on Mike Evans, Mike is taller, much more experienced, knows how to high point the ball. A really big play could happen. And not only a play that, like in Brandon Stevens' case, say he gets beat, he ends up tackling him. Look, Wiggins could be out of the frame. Not saying he doesn't have the speed, but like, once again, if you over leverage, you get handsy, you get beat bad. You know what I mean? And so, anyway, I get a little concerned about that. But to your point, Glenn, I'll just ask if I want to correct one of the things you said. I don't know if the game will be decided in the slot only because they've also got to stop our offense. Sure. But I understand your point. Like, our defense's success at the end of the day is really going to rely on our ability to defend the pass, most definitely in the slot. Like, Godwin is a serious problem, man.
Big time. And Baker loves throwing it to him.
Well, he's an easy target because he can get open quick, get open in the middle of the field. He can do it all. He's got great hands.
Dude, he's got 324 yak yards.
That's
already.
That's ridiculous.
Which, by the way, Mike Evans has 78. That's the reference point. 78 compared to 324.
He's getting the ball quick.
Yes, 100%.
He's getting the ball quick, so we got to tackle and got to limit those yards. I think Don C threw a super chat in there if we want to get to that real quick. Guys, I watched former Washington Commanders tight end. Oh, Glenn, this is what you're talking about. Yep. Logan Paulson, who was on the sideline, be godsmacked how Lamar had total control of the offense consistently, changed plays, and killed the D. Very cool. Yeah. No, that is awesome. Don, Glenn was talking about that earlier, and I haven't seen this yet. I'll have to look it up, but
dude,
it's just cool. Exciting news, right? It reminds me of when, do you remember when Tony Romo was talking about Lamar's vision on the field? And he was like, same thing. He was like, dude, this is Tom Brady level vision, right? Decision-making and things like that. So hearing those comparisons, I know these quarterbacks, I don't think they're big into hyperbole because they had to play against Tom Brady. So I think they respect and don't say those things lightly. So I'm looking forward to, to seeing that, watching this video. And then look, we all knew it was going to happen. We know Lamar Jackson here, right? Dude's a Hall of Famer today if he walks away and hangs him up.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And to see the way him and Todd are working right now, I mean, it's special. And also, if you watch I know you did because you just mentioned it. If you watch the Wired episode, which if you're not watching,
they're so good.
Really, all of the Ravens social media is just a step above everyone else. It's unbelievable how good they've been. But definitely the Wired. We have our own personal Hard Knocks every week here in Baltimore. And I say it's better than what you're seeing out of Hard Knocks. But you saw a glimpse into Lamar and Derrick Henry talking about kind of the ability to just change the play on the fly, where Derrick and him are quickly talking in between plays. And he's like, Lamar's like, I'm about to just keep it. I'm going to fake it to you. I'm going to just keep it. And he's like, yeah, just be careful. And he's like, yeah, I got you. And then what does he do? He does exactly that, keeps it, and scrambles for a first down. And it's easy money. So he has complete control, can change anything, can get you into the right plays. And we talked about since his rookie year, his ability to make those quick decisions has been unbelievable. I mean, from the moment he got here, he was called the RPO God because he always made the right decision. If it was his option, he made the right decision. And he's continuing to kind of grow that. And now he's making the right calls to get us in and out of the correct plays at the line of scrimmage, seeing what the defense is showing, and just beating them. And so, like Logan Paulson said, a defensive coordinator can have the best call, can have the perfect call. Gotcha. And then he goes, oh, is that what you're doing? We're going to do this instead. And now you don't have them anymore. I mean, it's just unbelievable what this guy's doing.
To me, Glenn, it's because his tool set is vast. Like, it's just unfair math. A defense can say, okay, you have 3 things you do really well. We're going to take away 2, leave you 1, and we're going to make you play that 1. And Lamar's like, he's got 6 things that he can do really well, and they can take away 3. He's still got 3 other things that he can do, at a high efficiency rate. So it's just bad math for the defense. I don't know if you saw this as well, but I think in this last game, Lamar Jackson became 3rd all time in rushing yards for quarterbacks, only behind Cam Newton and Michael.
No, he passed Cam Newton.
Oh no, he's coming up on Cam, didn't he?
Yeah,
you're right. My bad. He passed Cam. Yeah. He just passed Cam.
He's like 400 yards, I think, behind Mike Vick now.
And did you see the disparity in games played?
I didn't, but
Cam Newton to get 5,628 yards he had to play 148 games. All right. Lamar Jackson to acquire 5,635 games, 91 games.
How many for Lamar?
That's ridiculous. And now Mike Vick is at 6,109. So most likely Lamar will pass him this year, is my guess. It's only like 400 off.
Yep.
400. I think it's like 480 or 475, whatever that math is. But he did it in 143 games.
Versus how many?
91 for Lamar.
Whew.
He's at 91 right now. So even if you add what, we have 10 games left.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at 101.
11.
That's still of ridiculous. That's 47 less entire games.
That's insane. And
incredible.
And he's still so young. Like we still see, and he's getting better and better at playing the quarterback position every single week. Man, I just no, this is a conversation down the line, but it'd be nice to keep Todd Monken here, man, just to keep the cohesion that they're building. But man, the way he's playing right now, and I know his desires are to be head coach, the way he's coaching. Sure.
You think so? I mean,
when he came here, that's what he talked about. He said, look, this is probably my last shot to become a head coach. And the only way he saw this is the most likely avenue. So, yeah, I think I don't know. If he keeps going this way, I think we're not like Todd. I know Cole Jackson is on Monken playbook. Is the playbook in the draws alert every week. And you might have to be watching that on a different team next year, Cole, which is sad. But we're going to enjoy Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson's connection right now while we have it. Rave Kingdom says, John is letting Ravens be them in regular season. Will he let Ravens be them in the playoffs, or will he be a brick wall again for us in the playoffs? Well, I'm certainly hoping that he will learn from the success of the regular season and do what we do best and not get away from it and outsmart themselves. But we'll have to wait and see. Rave Kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So what do we got next here? I think.
Did we announce? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Our X Factor players. Let me quickly get. Darius Washington is mine. I think he's still beating himself up about that dropped interception. That it was funny. We got to see Harbaugh come over to the bench in the middle of the game and give him shit about it. Like, he's like, I think I could have caught that. And he's like, I think you could have too, coach. Like, dang. But I think he makes a play this week. We're seeing more and more of him get opportunities to play in different areas, not just up at the line of scrimmage, not just in the slot. And I think he has another opportunity. He just has those ball instincts. You know, we talk about how Brandon Stevens just doesn't have those instincts to get his head around, to get his hands on the ball. Darius has got him. And I think this time, if he has the opportunity, he makes that catch, doesn't let it bounce off his face. It's funny because Sandusky goes, it hits him in the face. Sandusky's classic yelling, and it hits him in the face. Not a good look for Darius Washington, but he could have some big role depending on the status of Arthur Maulet. Could help slow down Chris Godwin, and he's my X Factor player.
Man, I really like that one, Glenn. And I mentioned it before. Travis Jones is mine. I gave my explanation already, and that ties right in. But I hope Darius doesn't let that happen again, dude. I don't see him. I don't see it happening again. I'm hoping for the best. And let's go Darius. You know, he's our guy. But all right, let's talk about, are we into our competition already?
It is time, ladies and gentlemen.
Go. Wait, what?
Did we both hit it? You know what, DK? Because you said in the private chat, don't forget the video. So
Call me dancing.
I'm not going to take the blame for this one.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, this week's competition is, of course, and always brought to us by BetOnline.
Wait, before we get to that competition, you want to see something real quick?
No.
Can you see this?
Out.
Yeah. Don't mind the messy office, but it's also storage. Anyway.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Now your child is it's okay though.
The mailman.
We'll go right to the competition. It's no big deal. All right, DK, what we got for the first one? All right, go ahead, Glenn. I did the last one.
All right, Derrick Henry.
I can do it if you want.
My dog is just absolutely, she loves the mailman. You know, it's her best friend. But yeah, go ahead and read them, Jimbo.
Yeah, sure. All right, so over under number 1, Derrick Henry, 19 and a half carries. I'm going under on this one for some reason. I feel like I said, it's going to be a Justice Hill game. Catch him by surprise. I think Derrick Henry will still have a massive impact in this game, but I'm going just under. I think Glenn also, let's see, you went over on this one and DK.
Oh, yeah.
Under. So Glenn the contrarian on this one. Looking forward to it.
Oh, Cole Jackson said he sent me some maple syrup at the door. I'm going to need it for the run. That's for sure. I know that especially Canadian runners, they love a good dose of maple syrup along the trail. But yeah, I think over here, Jimbo. I mean, come on.
I'm just telling you, I think it's going to be a sneaky Justice Hill game. That's all.
My man is getting 25 this game, punching people in the mouth.
I like it. I still think his impact will be had.
Okay.
But I just think game will look a little different this week.
All right. Lamar Jackson rushing yards.
Speaking of easiest over ever.
4.1 yards per attempt is where DK sets it at. And look, don't be surprised. He's sneaky. Look at him last week, Jimbo. It wasn't so sweet for his yards per attempt last week. So
I won last week. So.
Oh, here we go.
I feel pretty good about my answer. I'm going over. Lamar Jackson is not averaging under 4 ever.
He did last week.
And never again. That has to be an anomaly. That has to be an anomaly.
All right. You said ever, and he just did it.
Not ever happening again.
Ever again. That's the key. I say over as well. 4.1 seems too. I think attempts will over. I mean, I guess it's game to game, but I do think overall as the season. Oh my God. I say over. Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right, DK. What's the third one? Over under for Baker Mayfield passing yards 250 and a half. I'm going over on this one. I'm going over on this one because I think that he gets some trash yards at the end of the game.
Okay. Yeah, I say over as well. The defense has to show me something before I'm going to pick under in this category.
All right. Fair enough. That's fair. Glenn would be the skeptic. I am the homer. All right. Let's go to the last one or the fourth one. Over under.
Hold on. You put over.
No, I did. Oh, right. I did put over. But my reasoning is different. I put over because I think he's going to get some trash yards like Kirk Cousins likes to do, right?
So you put a better bow on it, but you agreed with me.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Right. Because I have more faith in our defense. Over under number 4, Ravens tackles for loss. I think I put under on this one. Yeah, I did. Under. I'm going under tackles for loss at 4.5. 4.5 just seems kind of high.
Yeah, you know what, though? This is one of the ones that DK is going to beat us because he says over. I say under as well, but and look, a lot of it's because they have the number 2 rated, according to PFF, offensive line. Now, I have some injuries, which could change that, but they also got 2 pretty good running backs. But ultimately, DK is going to be right. It's going to be 5, but I'm going to say under.
Nice. All right, let's go to our tiebreakers closest to the pin. Number 1, total over underscore 50 and a half. Never pick the under again for the Ravens for the rest of the season. I'm going over. I'm taking the Ravens win 35-28, Glenn, and I'm going to add to it no field goals this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I mean, the way the Ravens are scoring in the red zone and the way the Ravens defense is giving up scoring to opposing offenses in the red zone, this could absolutely be a shootout. That's what I'm predicting as well. Over the 50 and a half total. Ravens do win, however, but I think it's a high scoring affair.
All right, let's go to the last one, DK. What do we got? Second tiebreaker, total yards for the Ravens closest to the pin. Yeah, so I took 465, which is the highest because the Ravens had, 478 last week and averaged something astronomical. So I'm going 465. Feel pretty good about that. DK's at 450?
Yeah, he's at 450, and I feel immediately like my total is too low at 405, which is insane. But this defense, I mean, this offense just averages 500 a game, it seems like. So maybe I'm too far under, or maybe I just have a lot more confidence in our defense is going to set up some short fields for this offense.
Is that what it is?
That's exactly what
you really had to monkey wrench that one in there, didn't you?
It's hard to get 80 yards when you're starting at the 40. You know what I mean?
It's true. And look, Baker likes to give the ball to the other team 1 out of 3 times.
Yeah. So the ultimate thing here, Jimbo, offensively, keep doing what you're doing. Defensively, clean up the damn communication issues, and I think a lot of the problems will take care of themselves.
And
it's
take
not a
advantage
talent
of
issue
that do present themselves to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Ardarius Washington not letting that ball
Or
hit him in his
Adafe
face.
Owe getting home. I mean, when you have the opportunity knocking at the door, take advantage of it.
Well, you don't see Baker Mayfield breaking tackles in the pocket.
He'll break Adafe's tackle somehow.
Stop it. Stop it. Don't say those things. And watch out for Unique Ngakoue, who's had, I mean, man, you talk about a guy who's happy to be here.
Did I call him Francis Ngakoue earlier in the show? I
Did
think
you?
I did.
That's one of your things, dude.
It is.
It's like a mental block. But yeah, I mean, can't wait for Monday night. And part of that's because, dang it sucks sitting around and waiting for Monday night. But think of it this way. There's no bigger stage than Monday Night Football. Everyone's watching, and this is the games and weeks where guys win awards. I mean, I know awards aren't that important to the grand scheme. You want to win the Super Bowl, but it matters to the players. You better believe it. And I think in prime time, look for our prime time players to show out. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, all those guys. And on defense, make your highest paid players got to be the best players. Roquan, you got to be really good. Marlon Humphrey, you got to be great. And look, if you're an all-pro, I want to see more plays out of Kyle Hamilton. Let's continue to play well, and let's go Ravens.
Yeah, that's it for us, folks. Appreciate the soapbox there, Glenn. I agree with you 100%. A way to encapsulate the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you caught it late, go back and check it out. Make sure you join the competition. Make sure you check out DK's musings. They're getting better every week. They're super good. Go check them out. Be a part of the community. I hope you get a lot of value out of it for those that already are a part of it. That's it for us. We will see you guys after the game.